Shalom Aleichem and welcome to Online Smicha. In this week's Parsha, we learn the Parsha all about the different karbanos that a person could bring or a person is obligated to bring, and from what one may bring a carbon. We know there's the animals, there's the birds, there's some mincha, etc., etc. When you pay attention to what the Torah allows to be brought as a carbon, the Torah basically allows behemoths. It says kavasim, shepselach, those things that are you have a lot of, and the Torah speaks about different birds, the Torah and B'nai Yonah, the dove, and the question is, why specifically these items are allowed to be used as a carbon? How about, for example, a chaya? Why there are kosher animals, kosher chaya, non-domesticated animals? Why don't we find that the Torah allowed that to be used as a carbon? Let's go a step further. Why either a behema or oif, or you go down to a mincha, which is flour? Why not fish? Why don't we find that a person can bring fish as a carbon? So there's a phenomenal lesson that we can learn from these things. The Medrash in Vayikra writes in Perek Chav Zayin, Amar HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Hashem says, when you're going to bring a carbon, or you have to bring a carbon, I'm not going to make it difficult on you to be able to fulfill this mitzvah or this responsibility. I'm going to tell you that this mitzvah of bringing a carbon should be easy on you. How? You fulfill it by the animals that you have around. The animals that are domesticated, those that are b'shuscha, it's easy to get. If I tell you that you have to get a chaya, you got to get out your hunting suit, you got to start shooting, and there's a whole malachet. I want it to be easy on you, and the easiest way is to allow you to do it from the behema. Other svarim say, that Rabbeinu Bechaya brings, that loy min hachaya, why doesn't the Torah say you could bring the chaya as a carbon? Says Rabbeinu Bechaya, because the Chazal tell us, Havei min ha'aluvim, v'loy min ha'olvim, min ha'nidofim, v'loy min ha'reitvim. Always be from the shy ones, and the ones that people are always making fun of, in the sense, don't be out there arrogant, making fun of people, chasing people. You be the one that people might be talking about you, and still accept it. So Rabbeinu Bechaya says that we find that the difference between a behema and a chaya is the behema is the stiller one. They're chasing them. The chayos are the ones that the chayos turfers. The chayos are always looking for a meal and always going for the smaller one to eat. And therefore, to symbolize this lesson in life, that you should be from the humble one, you should be the one that's calm, we only allow, says Rabbeinu Bechaya, you only allow the behemoths and not the chayos. And he says the same thing about the birds. Which birds did the Torah allow as a carbon? The Torah by B'nai Yonah. Because Chazal tell us there is no other birds that take so much abuse from the bigger ones and the faster ones than the Torah and the B'nai Yonah. Another answer which is brought is, we know that the Mikubalim write that a person, if he has to go through a Gilgul Neshama after 120, sometimes he would go into the body of a behema, but not in the body of a chaya. So therefore the Torah says, if anything needs an elevation, you could use a behema, but not a chaya. Now, this is an answer for why the Torah did not allow chayos. But how about dogim? Why don't we find the Torah allowing fish as a carbon? So over here, the Medrash Tanchuma gives a different reason. The Medrash Tanchuma says that with the karbanos are meant to be mechaper, be used as a kapara for an atonement for the person who's bringing it. So it has to be a shtickle similarity. So all these items that the Torah allows is something that is similar, that it's a basar v'dam, it's flesh and blood, and it grows like sort of like a human. Whereas fish grows, they grow from eggs, they get developed from the eggs, and the eggs are not even like the eggs of a bird, where the eggs of a bird get developed in the chicken itself. By the fish, it spits out the egg, and from there it develops into another new creature. Others say that similar to the chaya, that the reason why chaya is not suitable to be a carbon because it's the aggressive one. By fish, we also find that there is a sense of aggression. We find that the bigger fish, just ishas re'eyu chayim b'loi, we say that we should not be like the fish, that a bigger fish gobbles up the smaller one. So there is this sense that we don't want to use those type of creatures as a carbon. In another sefer it's brought, again similar to the chaya, that by gilgulim, we know if a neshama has to go back, it doesn't go into the body of a chaya. By a fish, we find on the opposite. We find specifically, usually a person who has to go through a gilgul might go through in a body of a behemoth. But the neshama of tzaddikim ain't tzaddik ba'aretz ashiyasa toiva liyechta. Nobody's picture perfect. So even a tzaddik could and does do a blemish, kaparim lefi erkoi, and he needs a shtickle kapara. So the neshamas of tzaddikim are nisgalgal and fish. That's what it says, and that's why in Hilchos Shabbos you find, specifically in a holy day like Shabbos, there's an inyan to eat fish. The neshamas of tzaddikim and nisgalgal and fish. So only something which needs a kapara, like a gilgul of a regular person, you could bring. Being that the tzaddikim, the gilgul of the neshama of a tzaddikim, don't really need a kapara because their blemish is a minor thing. So even if it was nisgalgal, it should not be brought as a carbon.